to you first, Czar, is we live in Florida, and we have Governor DeSantis. And when we have local officials, I don't care if it's in the judiciary or county commissioners, city mayors, it doesn't matter, not following the law, he exercises his constitutional authority and removes them. But you have other states, you know, and to your point, Governor, California, not only are they not following the law and saying they're not going to follow the law, but they're even giving more and more incentives to break the law. And I will say, on my way in, I did notice that Gavin Newsom's across the street protesting. So, but what do you do with these states and these governors like Gavin Newsom and these leaders? And you've said you'd talk about criminal prosecutions, Czar. What do we do to rein in these individuals who think that the rule of law does not apply to them?
Well, luckily, we got Pam Bondi as the Attorney General who's going to sue these jurisdictions. And I've been clear when it comes to sanctuary. They say, well, we're a welcoming community. We're a sanctuary city. And their justification is we want victims and witnesses of crime, if they're illegal aliens, victims and witnesses of crime to feel comfortable coming to law enforcement and not think they'll be turned over to ICE because we're not working with ICE. Okay, that's bullshit, first of all. Because victims and witnesses of crime don't want the bad guy in the neighborhood either.
Flashback.
All right, everyone. Welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. We'll take a look at this really disturbing video. It has been making the rounds, going viral. This is out in Aurora, Colorado, and it's one that is making headlines, of course, all over the country, where the mayor of Aurora says Venezuelan gangs are overrunning apartment buildings there as part of an organized criminal effort.
Yup, because he's a public safety threat. That's the person we want to talk to. We don't want to talk to the victim witness at all. Matter of fact, if we did talk to the victim, it might end up with a visa if they're a victim of a crime. But we want to talk to the bad guy. And I can't believe there's any elected official, whether it's a governor, a mayor, or a city council person, like what's happening down in Fort Myers area, that doesn't want public safety threats removed from their community. Their number one responsibility is protection of the community. So why would any elected official not want public safety threats removed from their community? But that's what ICE is doing. As far as sanctuary states, sanctuary cities, you're not going to stop us. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We'll double the manforce there. But here's the issue. Sanctuary cities are going to get exactly what they don't want. More agents in the community and more collateral arrests. Now, the media's all over right now. Well, a big part of these criminal arrests are actually non-criminals. Yes, they are. Where do these collateral arrests happen? Sanctuary cities. Why? Because you forced us in the community to find a bad guy. So when we find the bad guy, he's probably with others. Others that are in the country illegally, but maybe not a criminal alien. They're coming too.
Flashback.
These are the last moments Laken Riley was seen alive minutes before she was attacked. On the third day of testimony, the prosecution played this footage captured by the University of Georgia campus camera system.
What time? You said 9:05 a.m.?
Yes.
And do you recognize that individual we see in the screen?
I do.
Who is that?
That is Laken Riley.
Video from around 6:50 a.m. on February 22nd shows a man dressed in dark clothing and wearing a hood lurking outside an apartment complex that is near the trail where Riley was eventually killed. The man, which phone data shows could be Jose Ibarra, can be seen standing and walking around the area for a little over an hour.
We're going to force immigration law. Unlike the last administration under Mayorkas and Biden, they told ICE agents, immigration officers, you cannot arrest an illegal alien for simply being here illegally. Here's the executive branch rewriting statute. They told ICE officers you can't enforce the law. Unless they convicted of a serious crime, you can't arrest them. Well, that garbage is over with. If you're in the country illegally, you got a problem. Now, we're going to prioritize public safety threats first, and that's what we're doing. But it's not okay to be in this country illegally. It's against the law. It's not okay to cross the border illegally. It's a crime. And we'll deal with it in prioritized fashion, which is exactly what we're doing. But here, the sanctuary's here. Here's the problem. We just want access to get bad guy in jail. One agent can apprehend a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail, where everybody's safe. The officer's safe, the community's safe, and the alien's safe. But when you force us in the community, it puts officers at great risk. Now they have to arrest a criminal alien on his turf who has access to who knows what weapons. It puts the community at risk of further crime. Releasing a public safety threat back in the public is just dumb. Give us the guy in the jail. And I would say any elected politician, you go to the immigrant community, because look, the immigrant community, even those who are here illegally, despite them being here illegally, the vast majority are family people. They want to raise a family, and they're God-fearing people, and they don't want pedophiles in their neighborhood either.
Flashback.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
What do you think about Trump's border policy?
I love it. I'm 100% for it. As a Mexican American, I truly believe that we need to take our country back. When I came to this country, I stood in line for hours and days before I could get my green card.
Do you know anybody that crossed the border without applying for a green card?
Oh yes, unfortunately I have family members that did. Cousins, nephews, nieces.
Because those people might be deported if Donald Trump wins.
That's okay, that's okay.
You would be okay with your cousins
I would be okay.
being deported?
Yeah, I will be okay. They can be deported, but they can also apply to come back to the United States, but do it the right way.
How long have they been here for?
Years, like 20, some like 30 years.
How do you think they would feel about you saying that?
Oh, they would be very angry. They are angry at me right now. They don't talk to me because I support Trump.
They don't want someone arrested for DUI 10 times in their neighborhood either. Go to an immigrant community and ask one question. Would you rather have ICE in the jail or your community? What do you think they're going to say? The jail. Because they don't want public safety threats running around their community either. And we're the most TDA and MS-13, who do they victimize? The immigrant community. So I'm sick of the sanctuary city politicians saying we're protecting the immigrant community. No, you're not. Release that public safety threat, you're putting the immigrant community at greater risk of crime. You're putting the victim and witness that you're saying you're protecting at greater risk of retribution. Let ICE agents in a taxpayer-funded jail to take the bad guy, not only out of the community, but out of the country, and make this country safer. Every criminal alien that we remove from this country makes this country safer. Every single one of them. We're going to do it one at a time, and we're going to make this country safer at the end of this 4 years. Guaranteed you.
I think I want to just underscore something Tom said. Yes, obviously, if you have Venezuelan gang members, that's going to be a priority for law enforcement, and it should be. But that doesn't mean that people who are here illegally or are not part of this gang or have not been convicted of a crime, that somehow that means you're fine. Like, oh yeah, nothing wrong. But you do hear this rhetoric where you have law enforcement say, oh, well, if you come illegally and you commit crimes, then we're going to go after you, but not somehow short of that. If that's the case, you have 20 million people here illegally. I don't know what the number is, but I would guarantee you the overwhelming percentage of those people have not been convicted of separate crimes since they've come. So if you say the only trigger for being deported is being convicted of a separate felony in the United States, then you are basically saying we have a de facto open border. If you don't have interior enforcement, you do not have control of your country. And so one of the reasons why we wanted to do what we do, highway patrol, all these other guys, is because they have interactions with people who are here illegally who have not been convicted of a separate crime. And oh, by the way, in the special session, we made it a crime to enter Florida illegally, and we created an enhanced felony if you're in Florida after previously being deported. That's a state level, that we can hold you accountable. So it's not true to say you haven't committed a crime if you cross the border illegally. But there needs to be routine interior enforcement, and you cannot say that people who are here illegally are scot-free up and until the time they actually commit a separate criminal offense. I want to get them out before they commit an offense against someone. Why would we want more victims to be able to do? So there's a priority, there's limited resources, and you have to apply that intelligently. But we cannot have like this rhetoric, and you hear it a lot on Republicans will say that, okay, yeah, we're only interested in people who have committed these serious crimes once they've come here, and we're somehow not interested just because you came in illegally. That's not the state of Florida's policy. We're holding you accountable if you've entered the state of Florida illegally, as you should be held accountable for.
And if I can let me foot stomp for you a sec, because the governor is exactly right. If the message you want to send to the whole world is, enter this country illegally, which is a crime, just don't commit another crime, you're good to go. You're never going to solve the border crisis. You're never going to fix it. That's why we have to do what President Trump is doing. Congress can fix the system if they want. I don't have a lot of faith they're going to. But we need to send a message to the whole world. It's not okay to enter this country illegally. And let me tell you why. Under Joe Biden, on an average day under Joe Biden, 70%, 70% of Border Patrol agents are pulled off the line to take care of this humanitarian crisis, right? 11,000 a day. And they were actually changing diapers, making sandwiches, making baby formula, taking people to hospitals. When you take 70% of agents off the line, in some sectors in the last couple of years, they pulled every single uniform off patrol because they have overcrowding. And the only thing the Biden administration was concerned about, we can't have overcrowding because the cameras catch that. We can't claim the border secure. We got overcrowding in these facilities. So their number one priority was process quickly, release quickly, because there's no overcrowding, there's nothing to see. But when you overwhelm the border towards 70 to 100% of agents pulled off the line, what happened? Enough fentanyl came across the border to kill 250,000 people. Sex trafficking was up 600%. The death of aliens crossing the border were at a record high. 4,000 people died crossing the border. Basically because the Border Patrol wasn't there to pull them out of the river or save them in the desert. Record number of Americans died, a record number of illegal aliens died, sex trafficking up 600%. No one suspected terrorists, over 400 people on the terrorist watch list in 4 years on the southern border. President Trump had 14 in 4 years. So for those that want to say it's just simple illegal immigration, innocent, no, it's not. Because when you overwhelm the system, all these other bad things happen. So securing the border, which we're doing right now at record levels, you're going to see fentanyl deaths decrease, sex trafficking will decrease, deaths of illegal aliens would decrease, the cartels are going to go bankrupt. This is the right thing to do. Secure borders saves lives, and no one can prove anything different. The data speaks for itself. A secure border saves American lives, it saves aliens' lives. That's a fact.